Hello students, we have seen some chemical properties of the metals. Here in metals and non-metal, as we have seen different examples of the metals. In surrounding there are iron, copper, aluminium, gold, platinum, sodium, potassium. Different metals are there, but what about their reactivity or the activity? Means every metal has a different tendency to react towards different chemical substances. So there is one series or sequence of the metals which show their reactivity order. Means the order of intensity or order of reactivity of the metal is called as the reactivity series. In reactivity series there is hydrogen at the center, and some metals are up on the hydrogen metals and some are at the downside of the hydrogen metal. So here you can see the example of this reactivity series. If you will see here hydrogen, above the hydrogen there are the metals lead, iron, zinc, aluminium, magnesium, calcium, sodium and potassium. At the same time below hydrogen there are copper, mercury, silver, gold. So when we go down to this reactivity series, its reactivity decreases, and this sequence or order of the metal in decreasing order of the reactivity is called as the reactivity series. From this reactivity series you can understand that the metals which are present above the hydrogen, they are more reactive, and the metals which are present below the hydrogen, they are less reactive. From this also you can understand that copper, silver, gold, these are noble metals, they are less reactive, and lithium, sodium, potassium, calcium, they are most reactive metal. So the sequence or order of reactivity of the metal in which as we go down to this series, the reactivity of the metal is decreases from top to bottom, means on moving from top to bottom. This is called as the reactivity series. So order of reactivity in which potassium or lithium, it is most reactive, at the same time copper is less reactive. And we have seen one more type of the reaction, that is metal displacement reaction. So the metals which are present at the top of the reactivity series, they have ability to remove the metal from its salt solution. That is called as a metal displacement reaction. Means this reaction can be explained by activity also. When copper sulfate solution is taken in one beaker, its color is blue, dark blue. If we keep in that iron nail, so slowly the on the iron nail deposition of the reddish substance takes place, and the copper sulfate solution color fades away. This is one type of the chemical reaction, because here copper is present at the bottom of this reactivity series and iron is present at the above of this copper in the reactivity series. It means that iron is more reactive than that of the copper. So iron has ability to displace copper from its salt solution, and therefore when in copper sulfate solution iron nail are kept, then on iron nail reddish deposition of the copper is occurred. At the same time the color of the copper sulfate solution fades away. It is only due to the metal displacement reaction. We can see so many examples of this metal displacement reaction. For example, reaction of the metals with solution of the other metal salt. This is the example of metal displacement reaction. Suppose metal A, which is present at the top of the series, and the salt of the metal B, that is this metal B, is at the bottom of the reactivity series. Then what happens? This metal B get displaced by the metal A from its salt solution, and we get salt of the metal A by getting free metal B. So here metal B get free during this reaction, that is called as metal displacement. Iron displaces copper from its copper sulfate solution, means Fe plus copper sulfate CuSO4, it gives FeSO4. At that time, this copper, it get free during this metal displacement reaction because iron is at the top of the series, copper is at the bottom of the series. So iron has tendency to displace copper from its salt solution and copper get free in the solution. Now similarly, this aluminium and zinc, they are displaces copper from the solution of the copper sulfate solution. If aluminium is added into the copper sulfate solution, we get aluminium sulfate and copper get separated. Same thing for the zinc metal also. Zinc metal is present at the top of the series. So when zinc grains or granules are added into the copper sulfate solution, it also forms its corresponding salt, that is zinc sulfate, and copper get free. These all are examples of metal displacement reaction. And what happens actually? That is iron, aluminium and zinc, they are more reactive than the copper, and that is why they have tendency to displace copper from its salt solution by getting free copper in the solution. Same way we can see copper when added into the silver nitrate. Now in the reactivity series, if you will see the sequence of the reactivity, then during that sequence of the reactivity, here you can see copper is at the higher position than that of the silver. Here copper is at the higher position than that of the silver. So copper has tendency to displace silver from its salt solution. So depending on this reactivity series, you can see the example how this silver means it displaces or gold is displaces copper or not. Here you can see those reactions. So in which cases this metal displacement reaction do not occur. When gold is dipped in the solution of copper nitrate, then Au means gold. When it is added into the copper sulfate solution, this copper, gold, silver, they have very least reactivity. Means gold is not reacting or it is non-reactive. So these all gold, silver, mercury, these and copper, that we are supposed to be the noble metals. In case of the copper, as we have seen, copper is present above the silver. Therefore, copper can displace the silver from its salt solution by getting free this silver. But when silver is added into the copper sulfate or gold is added into the copper sulfate, we are not seeing any change. These substances remain as is it in the reaction mixture, means they have not tendency to displace copper from its salt solution. So here it is shown as there is no reaction. In similar way, there is no reaction takes place between when copper is dipped in the solution of aluminium nitrate, because copper is less reactive than that of the aluminium. Here you can see aluminium nitrate, that is Al2NO3 means NO3 thrice plus of the copper, there is no reaction. Now we will see the next part of this lesson, that is non-metal. All the reactions which we have studied, that are of the metals, means chemical reactions of the metal, physical properties of the metals. Now we are going to see about non-metals. Metals are malleable, ductile, means good conductors of heat and electricity, sonorous, coinage. But opposite of that, these are the non-metal, means their physical properties are, they are not ductile, they are not malleable, they are not good conductor of the heat and electricity, they are not sonorous, they are not lustrous. Thus, some exceptions are there. For the lustrous nature or shiny property, iodine is also non-metal, but it shows lustrous property. At the same time, carbon's allotrope graphite, it is non-metal, but it is good conductor of heat and electricity. By removing those exceptions, the remaining all non-metals, they do not show the conductivity, their luster property, sonorous nature, and these all malleability, ductility. Now, examples of non-metals are carbon C, sulfur S, phosphorus P, silicon Si, hydrogen H, oxygen O, nitrogen N, chlorine Cl, bromine Br, neon Ne, argon Ar, etc. Means there are so many examples of the non-metals. These non-metals may be solid, liquid or gases, and they have tendency to gain electron in order to complete its octet. And due to this ability, they shows formation of the negative ions. That means they are electronegative elements. From this we can see that non-metals, these are electronegative elements because they have tendency to gain electron to produce negative ion, and therefore this tendency is called as electronegativity, and all those elements are called as electronegative elements. Now physical properties of the non-metal. What about hardness? These non-metals are not hard. They are brittle in nature. They are soft, they can easily cut or they get broken down. It is means the hardest, diamond is only seen hardest as diamond is made from the carbon non-metal, but it is more hard because of their arrangement of the carbon atoms in the network manner. So this diamond is called as a network solid, which is hardest. It can be used for the cutting the glass. Leaving that exception, other all non-metals, they are soft or brittle, they may be solid, liquid or gas. Lustrous nature, they have dull appearance, they are not lustrous, they are non-sonorous, they do not produce any typical sound after being heat on it. And conduction, non-metals are bad conductors, or these are also called as the insulators. Only exception is the graphite. It is allotrope of the means carbon. Malleability and ductility, non-metals are non-malleable and non-ductile. Some other properties of these non-metals are melting and boiling point. Non-metals have generally low melting point and boiling point because they are brittle, easily can be cut. Density, most of the non-metals have low density. As though they are solid, liquid or gases, their density changes, but as though they are soft or brittle, their density is low. Color, non-metals are in many colors, they are in different colors. Now, for example, in case of the carbon, it is the form of the graphite, it is non-metal, which is good conductor of electricity. Another exception is of iodine, it is also non-metal, but it shows lustrous nature, that is shining surface. Carbon in the form of diamond is non-metal, but it is extremely hard. Diamond is also non-metal, which has very high melting and boiling point because we have seen that they have less melting point, less boiling point, less hardness, non-sonorous, non-lustrous. So some exceptional characters of some of the non-metals are given here or explained here. Now we will see about chemical reactions of the non-metal. First reaction Now, how we have seen about the metal, in the same way, first chemical property of the non-metal, it is the reaction with oxygen. So, when non-metals, they react with the air, that is from air, they react with the oxygen, they forms corresponding non-metallic oxide. So, example is when carbon react with the oxygen, it gives carbon dioxide and it produces more amount of the heat. So, this reaction is also called as combustion reaction. This is oxidation, but especially it is called as the combustion reaction because during formation of non-metallic oxide, it produces huge amount of heat. You know that wood, it is made from the carbon, branch, sticks, woods or the coal. They all are made from the carbon. So when they are burned in the presence of the air or oxygen, it produces carbon dioxide. With that, huge amount of energy also produced, and therefore it is combustion reaction. When carbon is burned in excess amount, at that time it produces a carbon dioxide due to the complete combustion. When least amount of oxygen is provided during burning of the carbon, it means that insufficient supply of the air is given during the burning of the carbon, then it produces carbon monoxide in place of carbon dioxide. Heat is also produced, but product is the carbon monoxide. So it is called as incomplete combustion. This is complete combustion of the coal and this is incomplete combustion of the coal. Now, you know the another non-metal, that is sulfur. Sulfur also shows the same reaction like the carbon. So here when sulfur react with the oxygen or burn in the air, then it gives sulfur dioxide. But in case of the hydrogen, when react with the oxygen, it gives water. In case of the non-metal like carbon, sulfur, nitrogen, the oxides which are produced, they are acidic in nature. Only the hydrogen which is electropositive. Other all non-metals are electronegative. But as this hydrogen is electropositive, it also reacts with the oxygen and it gives its corresponding oxide. It is called as the water. It is neutral in nature. It is called as the universal solvent. But in case of carbon, sulfur, nitrogen, they give corresponding oxides, but these oxides are acidic in nature. Now these non-metallic oxide, that is how they are acidic in nature, that activity we can see here or reactions which we can see. When into carbon dioxide, water is added, it gets dissolved in it and it forms the carbonic acid, that is H2CO3. In the same way, when sulfur dioxide is added into the water, it gives sulfurous acid. So both these acids are produced after reaction of these non-metallic oxides with the water, and we can take the test with the help of litmus paper. Now another example, that is sulfur dioxide. When it is burned into the limited supply of the oxygen, it gives sulfur dioxide. But when sulfur is burned into the excess of oxygen, it can be converted into sulfur dioxide. Another reaction, into that sulfur dioxide, if again excess of oxygen is added, it is changing into sulfur trioxide. And this same sulfur trioxide, when treated with the water, it gives sulfuric acid. So this is the industrial preparation method of the sulfuric acid, where first sulfur dioxide is produced. In that sulfur dioxide, excess of oxygen is again added and it is converted into sulfur trioxide. To that sulfur trioxide, water is added to give the corresponding sulfuric acid. Now second chemical property of the non-metal that we can see, that is reaction of the non-metal with the chlorine. Chlorine, bromine iodine, these all are halogen family elements. So they are more reactive, they are present at the extreme right hand side of the periodic table. They are more electronegative. These are also non-metal, but they can react with the other non-metal to give their corresponding chloride. You can see here means hydrogen, phosphorus, this sulfur, they can react with the halogen and they give corresponding chloride. Hydrogen is also non-metal, chlorine is also non-metal, but hydrogen is electropositive, chlorine is more electronegative. They combine to give the hydrochloric acid. Here phosphorus is also electronegative, but phosphorus, this chlorine, that is halogen group elements, are more electronegative. Therefore, it can combine with the phosphorus C4 molecule of the phosphorus and it gives corresponding phosphorus trichloride, that is PCl3. Thus, halogen elements have tendency to react with other non-metallic atoms and they form corresponding corresponding non-metallic chlorides. Now, reaction of the non-metals with the hydrogen. So, hydrogen is also non-metal and other means we have seen phosphorus, chlorine, sulfur, phosphorus, etc. These all are also non-metal. But difference in between these hydrogen and remaining non-metal is that hydrogen is electropositive. So, it has tendency to react, it is more reactive, it has tendency to react with the other non-metal. For example, when hydrogen reacts with the sulfur, it gives the compound hydrogen sulfide. So reaction is hydrogen H2 plus sulfur, yes, it gives hydrogen sulfide H2, and it has specific or pungent odor. Now, another, that is nitrogen. Nitrogen, it is also non-metal. When it reacts with the hydrogen, it has tendency to form ammonia. Ammonia has also specific odor. Non-metals, they do not react with the water or the steam to evolve the hydrogen gas. Means here you can see the difference in metals and non-metal by taking into consideration their chemical property. We have seen that metals when react with the water, they release the hydrogen gas and they form corresponding hydroxide or the oxides. But here non-metals do not react with the means water as well as they do not react with the dilute acid. So reaction of the metals and non-metal. Now these metals as though are electropositive, non-metals are electronegative. So both they combine with each other to give the new compound. So they can react with each other and they form the ionic compound because metals form means electropositive. Metals are electropositive, they form the positive ion, that is cation. And non-metals are electronegative, they form the negative ion, that is anion. When cation and anion come together, they form the compound that is called as the ionic compound by formation of the ionic bond. So here ions, these are two types, positive or negatively charged atoms, and when from the atom electron is released from the outermost shell, it has tendency to lose electron, means it has ability to form the positive ion, and that is called as the cation. When the atom which are gaining the electron, they have tendency to gain electron to form negative ion, that is called as the anion. When oppositely charged ion combine with each other, they they form the ionic bond, and the compound which is containing ionic bond is called as the ionic compound. So here are some examples of positive ions and negative ions and formation of the ionic compound. So here from this you can easily understand how positive and negative ions are formed. For example, sodium, its atomic number is 11, and due to 11 atomic number, its distribution of electron is 281. In its outermost shell, there is one electron. So that one electron is lost by the sodium, and 2,8 stable ion is formed. That is, as one electron is lost by the sodium from its outermost shell, its atom carries positive charge, one positive charge. It is called as the sodium monopositive ion. Now, magnesium, its atomic number is 12. Its electronic distribution is 282. So it has two valence electron in its outermost shell. It loses two electrons by attaining the complete octet, by attaining the stable electronic configuration, and as it loses two electrons, magnesium atom carries two positive charge. Thus, magnesium dipositive ion is formed. Means how many electrons lost by the atom, that much positive charge is carried by that atom, and thus it, by losing the 1, 2 or 3 electron, it here forms the positive ions called as the cation. At the same time, opposite of that positive ion there is negative ion. The negative ion is formed because of the gain of an electron. Some examples are chlorine, its atomic number is 17. So distribution of the electron is 287. In its outermost shell there are 7 electrons. So it needs 1 electron to complete its octet. When it gains 1 electron, so chlorine atom attains the nearmost inert gas configuration by forming octet, and thus Cl minus ion is negative ion is formed. Means here it gains electron. How many electrons are gained by the atom, that much negative charge is formed. Therefore, here you can see Cl mononegative ion is formed. In this way, positive and negative ions are formed, and these positive and negative ions combine together to give the ionic bond. Now, here you will see the ionic bonds are formed because of transfer of the electrons from metal to the non-metal, and thus in this course metal gets positive charge due to transfer or loss of electron. At the same time, non-metals get negative charge because of gaining or acceptance of the electron, and thus bond formed between the oppositely charged ion, that is positive and negative ion, is called as the ionic bond. And since a compound is electrically neutral, so to form an ionic compound, and thus these ions must combine to give this compound, that is called as the ionic compound. Example of formation of the ionic compound, that is formation of the common salt, means sodium chloride NaCl. Here already we have seen how sodium positive ion and chlorine negative ion is formed. That explanation is given here. Atomic number of sodium 11. Its distribution is 281. Outermost shell contains 1 electron, and that means in the outermost orbit there is 1 valence electron. This valence electron can be lost by the sodium. At the same time, the atomic number of chlorine is 17. Its electronic configuration is 287. In the outermost shell there are 7 electrons, means valence electrons are 7, and thus here you can see how actual transfer of the electron takes place during formation of sodium chloride ionic compound. Na positive 1 valence electron, chlorine has 7 valence electron. That 1 valence electron is transferred from sodium to chlorine. So chlorine's octet get completed. At the same time, due to loss of 1 electron, sodium's octet also get completed. Na positive ion and chlorine carries negative charge. These both oppositely charged ions comes together and they form the NaCl neutral molecule. In this way, you can see how transfer of this electron from outermost shell takes place. The outermost shell which carries the electron, that is called as the valence electron. Here sodium has only 1 valence electron, chlorine has 7 valence electron. When due to loss of electron by the sodium, positive ion is formed. Due to gain of electron by the chlorine, negative ion is formed, and thus here sodium positive and chlorine negative, they combine together to form the NaCl molecule.